When you buy insurance, what you're really buying is a promise that you'll be protected. But how is that promise actually made? Well, we're going to trace the entire journey of an insurance policy, from just a simple request all the way to a full-blown legally binding contract. So that's the big question, right? We see a price, maybe we click agree, but what's going on behind the scenes? There's this really structured process that turns a price tag into an actual promise of protection, and we're about to break it all down. And the journey always starts with figuring out the price. In the insurance world, we call this the quote. It's basically the insurer's answer to your question, hey, how much is it going to cost to cover me? Now, to come up with that number, insurers need some key info. And you've probably entered all this stuff online a dozen times. They look at who you are, what you're trying to insure, and your history. But they also look at where it is. I mean, a car that's parked in a city with a high crime rate is a totally different risk than one in a quiet suburb, right? Every little detail helps build your unique risk profile. Okay, so once the insurer has all your data, it gets crunched by these super complex rating algorithms. These systems weigh all those different risk factors. They apply any discounts you might qualify for, like for being a safe driver. And then, boom, out comes the final number, your premium. And that's your quote. So, you've looked at the quote, you like the price, and you accept it. Awesome. But, and this is important, you're not fully insured just yet. That agreement now has to be made official, and that happens through two really crucial steps: bind and issue. Just look at this flow here. Accepting the quote is the trigger for everything else. It kicks off the next action, which is binding the coverage. The formal policy, the actual document, is only issued after that bind takes place. This sequence is absolutely fundamental to how insurance contracts come to life. So, what in the world does bind even mean? Well, it's that exact moment the insurer says, yep, we accept the risk, and you agree to buy. And this is the key. From that very instant, you have temporary coverage. You are protected, even if you haven't gotten a single piece of paper yet. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a handshake on a deal. It's the agreement that says we're in this together. The insurer is now on the hook, and your coverage has officially started. All the paperwork will catch up later, but your protection is active right now. So after that handshake, we get to policy issuance. This is the formal part. It's the process where the insurer actually creates and delivers the full legal contract. This is the step that turns that temporary bind agreement into a complete, permanent, and legally solid policy. And the policy you get isn't just a one-pager. It's a whole package. You've got the declarations page. That's kind of like your personal summary. Then you have all the official forms, terms and conditions, any special changes called endorsements, and of course, a clear breakdown of what's covered, what's not, and what you're paying for. Now, you might think that once a policy is issued, that's it. It's set in stone for the year. But that's not how it works. A policy is more like a living document. It has to be able to adapt to changes in your life, and it does that using something called an endorsement. And I bet you've made these changes yourself. Did you buy a new car? That's an endorsement. Move to a new house? Yep, that's an endorsement too. Decided you want to increase your coverage or maybe add your teenager to your policy. Every single one of those is a formal change and endorsement that updates your contract. So every policy has a lifespan, usually a year. And at the end of that term, the policy reaches a fork in the road. It really only has two possible futures. It either gets renewed for another term or it ends. So those two paths are renewal and cancellation. With a renewal, the insurer takes another look at your risk. Did you get a speeding ticket? Maybe make a claim? Your premium could go up or down. And if you both agree to the new terms, the policy just keeps on going. Cancellation, on the other hand, is a full stop. You might cancel because you found a better deal, or the insurer might cancel for a serious reason, like if you stopped paying or committed fraud. So there you have it. From that very first price check all the way to that big decision to continue for another year, we've now walked through the entire life cycle of an insurance policy. Let's do a super quick recap. It all starts with the quote, where the price gets calculated. Then you have the bind. That's the handshake where the agreement is made. That's followed by the issue, where the contract becomes official. Throughout its life, the policy changes and adapts with endorsements. And finally, it hits the renewal stage, where the whole cycle can start right back up again. So now you get it. You understand the blueprint of an insurance policy. But this whole thing, the quotes, the binding, the paperwork, it all exists for one single reason: to be there for you when you actually need it. Which of course brings us to the most important question of all. What happens when you have to make a claim? We'll break that down next.